Welcome. This is Lynn Gray, RRCA certified coach and personal trainer. Today we're going to be working on our core and more, and in fact are going to divide it into three parts. Part one is going to be very much dedicated to the hip area and to the waistline. But before we begin, I want to remind you of all the tools that you should have ready to incorporate a good workout program in your house or outside. Generally speaking, you should always have some ankle weights, 1.5 to 2.5 pounds. Hand weights ranging from 2 to 5 pounds. Bands such as these, easy, medium strength, and more difficult. Your kettlebell, which works very, very closely like a medicine ball. Always make sure that you have something to make your knees comfortable, putting this before your knees, or for your sit-ups, put it right on your lower lumbar. Sometimes they come in wider shapes, and I like this one as well. These are nothing more than garden mats. Further, you should maybe invest in a few medicine balls. This is your 5 pound. Obviously they come in 8, 10, 20, and on they go. And we'll be using this today. Further, you should have a stool. 7-inch is the one we'll use today. They have them in 11 inches, and in fact you can just use a park bench, which goes right up to 14 inches to 20. So this is really good for a good leg lift. And those exercises we also will do. Lastly, we have the Bozu, which is very, very well known for the core. We may get into that too, one of these lessons, probably lesson 3, because that's a little bit more advanced. Okay, let's start out with the stretch. We start every program with the stretch. And while I'm sitting here, I want to show you what I'm really trying my best to do. We're going to stretch the entire body with one exercise. But before we do, I want to teach you a little bit about an effective leg, hip, and back, and hamstring stretch. First things, when we say put your legs down, we really mean that the calf and the behind the knee should be flush on the floor, not like this. So in a sense, there's a little bit of locking of the knee. So this is a flush, and then when they say, or I say, put your feet flexed, it's almost as if the toes are being pulled towards you. And if I say point, that means, of course, that you're pointing right down to the floor. In fact, this is one exercise, just as a side note, that prevents shin splints. Learning to point those toes and flex stretches all of the major muscles around the shin. But that's a little bit of the aside. Okay, let's get on with the first stretching exercise. I really want to stretch my entire legs, making them even. I'm going to go ahead and ask that we begin by flexing the feet, and almost as if you're arching your back, your chest is aiming for the thighs, and you get a little frustrated because it's not going to go that far. So wherever it goes is fine, and you reach your two legs, and then at that point, let your head come down and your toes point. And all of a sudden, you'll find that your arms can move a little bit further down. So you grasp your ankles there. And a little bit more of a stretch now. Your heels and your toes are going to be flexed. And now you feel this essentially all the way up throughout your hamstrings and your glutes. And holding this for 15 seconds. And lastly, you do it one more time. Point. You'll find yourself getting even more of a longer, all those calf muscles and hamstrings are getting a much longer stretch. The length is increasing of the muscle, and bingo, flex and hold. And again, this time you lead with your chest. When you finish that total stretching area, the weight of your head is laid down in the middle, and you will feel a tremendous stretch throughout your entire leg, increasing the evenness of the length of your legs and your hamstring. Now, today we're doing hips, so our stretch will match the hip movement and the waistline movement. And the most popular one for all runners, especially walkers and anyone who's involved in distance sports, is the 3-point stretch. So you need a band, like a yoga band, could be actually a towel, something fairly thin for the most part. And you want to go ahead, lay down with the leg fully flat on the floor, lifting the right leg up and not being frustrated if it doesn't go straight up in a right angle, but if it does, that's great. And you want to aim your heel and your feet, your toes, are parallel, flush with the ceiling or the sky, and actually think about aiming your heels to the ceiling, and you will feel this entire area being stretched. And what you're doing is an isometric stretch at this point. You're going to actually pull down with the rope while you're pushing up. So in a sense, this muscle is elongating. This is one huge muscle, hamstring muscle, calf muscle, and you're holding this for 15 seconds, and then you ease off, pulling your knee to your chest, and you can now make a repeat, and hopefully there's a little bit more of a right angle. Typically runners can be, this might be the best that they can do, which my other leg is almost like that. But this is a pretty good stretch here, a pretty good angle. And then we're going to take that same position and put the rope in the left hand, put the palm of the hand on the right, put the right leg over the left, and in a sense, you almost want to aim the right part of the buttocks to the floor. You'll feel your whole piriformis, and if you can, just kind of stretch and kick, pulling the rope towards your face, and then your entire IT band, all the muscles, the piriformis will be stretched, and consequently, that takes care of a lot of hamstring injuries. And then you repeat for the abductor, you put the right leg to the right side, and do that same stretch, pulling forward, flexing that leg, and making sure the left leg is flat on the ground. And that's where a lot of people start going like this, and then they lose the quality of the stretch. Here's your abductors being stretched, and this is a very, very good one. Now, the other leg, we talked about the differences of one leg and the other, so I assure you, you'll see that in this demonstration. On my left, my right leg is down supine, my left leg is going up. This is as far as I can get it, and I'm going to go ahead now, isometrically, I'm going to push up and pull down, and this, now I can feel my muscle very, very tight, and this is all I can do. I'm not going to force any stretch because right now I'm lengthening it. Should be holding my breath for about 15 seconds and trying my best to concentrate on that push up, pull down. Now, that's about 15 seconds. I'm going to slowly bring my knee to my chest. And now I'm going to try my best to get the highest stretch out of this. Up it goes. There we go. Not too bad. This is almost a 90-degree angle. And I'm holding, and now I'm just going to gradually just put the rope in the right hand. The left leg goes over the right, left palm goes down, leg is over the right, feeling the piriformis, feeling just about everything on this whole right hand side, and yet I still want to go ahead and get a little bit more stretch value. And now I'm starting to pull forward and kick out. And that's a process that you can spend really a minute or so on, and it won't hurt you a bit. And then come back over, and consequently you have your abductors, and then this comes down here. And again, with the left hand, you can wrap the rope around, pull it, and kick, pull, and you'll feel this abductor right in here. Just don't overdo it. And mind you, that right leg is still straight and flat. And this is a great stretch for most distance people who use their legs predominantly. Now, we're going to go up, And that's the stretch of the day. Let's go ahead and work on our waistline and our obliques and our hips. Okay, let's work on our hips and our obliques. We'll use our band and just review from a previous DVD about our leg walk. And this is where 30 seconds on the left, and you feel your hips. 30 seconds on the right, again you're feeling towards your right hip. And if you remember, we also did it forward for 30 seconds and backwards for 30 seconds. And that's a really good way to warm up your hip and your legs. So with that being a reminder, we're going to dedicate the next few minutes for a totally oblique and a hip workout to make sure that all the muscles around our hips are extremely strong. So let's go ahead and take a medicine ball. Many of you are perfectly capable of doing a 5-pound. And what you're really wanting to do is get a little bit more of your oblique in. So in a sense, you'll be handing it to somebody. And instead of just this lateral, we're going to accelerate a little bit by leaning forward with the right, putting the hip on the left, the ball on the left hip, and then as you come over, you're going to hand and then come back. You see the torso will be moving one. And you want to aim for about 1 minute on the left, and this in itself is really good for forward motion, and you will feel it in your arms and of course your obliques. And you see that I'm taking off on that 1 foot, a little bit of balance, not much. And for 1 minute or for 30 seconds, do this on towards your right and switch legs. Let your left leg be the dominant leg and your right is the back. Put the medicine ball in the right hip pocket. And here we go, looking at that slant, so I can make sure that torso goes into a moving position. And here goes 1, and that's a really good position for waistline forward movement. And again, we're aiming for 1 minute. Obviously you can count, but it's much easier if you go for this minute, and you will feel this in your arms for sure, and your area of your shoulder cuff and your deltoid and all this area here. And that's a really very, very specific one for the obliques. Now, let's talk about the band and the hips, because this is the workout that we really want to spend some time on. Anytime you have a band, there's several things you can do. You want to warm up your hips and your abductors. So sometimes it's helpful to take a stronger band, put it on the upper parts of your knee, right about there, and instead of sitting all the way down, you just want to do a little bit of a squat. And what's happening is, after, again, I do a minute or so, I'm going to start feeling it all in here, and it's really warming it up. It's not like it's so tough, but you really want that warm up. And this is a huge strengthening exercise through the entire area here, and your muscles actually get very tight and reshaped. So we're really looking at, again, 1 to 2 minutes, very small squats. The knees are not exceeding the toes. So try that for the warm-up. And then let's start a hip exercise. Typically a beginner will have the yellow band, and what you're really looking for is specificity. So if I really want to get this whole hip strong, then I'm just going to work exactly on it only. So in this case, I'm going to lay down, and the band can be put right on the ankle area. And since I'm laying down, again, I want to make sure that my legs are flexed, or my feet are flexed, my legs are straight, and I want to go ahead and lift. And in this sense, I'm really kind of comfortable. I can be like this, but the important thing is to hold 2, 3, 4, 5. 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 It's the hold that makes all this work. If you would rather lay down, that's fine too, into a straight line. You can use your palm of your hand to help get that lift even higher, and you have not any problem at all in feeling all of this whole muscle working in your waistline. And then the other side, I would say start out with 10 on each side. A minute will be too much when you initially make it happen. You can use the side of this band for comfort, although it's not really that uncomfortable. And notice how the feet are not like this, they're flexed. And for straight up, and do your counting, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, down. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, down. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and there it goes into this whole area. Now, we're not done yet. We can actually add a little bit more workload and put a more of a interesting dynamic. We can use this as our rest, and we can now just kind of just let that leg open. And this is your abductor. You may not feel it, but do about 10 of these just to get warmed up. So you're going to say, oh, this is so easy, and actually it is, but it's very relaxing, and you are getting the abductor and the groin area stretched. So now let's go ahead for 3 levels. First level, right above your knee. 10 of these. 1, hold, 2, 3. 2, hold, 2, 3. 4, hold, 2, 3. 5, hold, 2, 3. Go up to 10. Now put it on the middle of the leg. And here we go. 1, 2, 3, hold. 2, 2, 3, hold. 3, 2, 3, hold. 4, 2, 3, hold. And go all the way to 10. 5, 2, 3, hold. Now you're really feeling it a little bit more. Then we're going to just put it on our ankles and repeat the same. We're going to go up to 10. 1, 2, 3, hold. 1, 2, 3, hold. Now you're working all the way down. Every time you move it further up to your leg, your feet, you're working more. 2, 3, hold. 2, 3, hold. And lastly, for another set of 10, right to your flexed feet. And I'm keeping my legs bent for my back comfort rather than going up like this, but either way is okay. This is a little bit more comfortable. And out, 2, 3, hold. Out, 2, 3, hold. Out, 2, 3, hold. And now I feel it all the way in here. 2, 3, hold. And that's a great way to get all this outside worked out. Now let's go ahead and we'll sit down and see anything else that can be had with this band. And for those of you who have a need to increase your quad strength, you can simply go ahead and use the same idea, lifting straight up. 1, 2, 3, hold down. 1, 2, 3, hold down. 1, 2, 3, hold down. And you'll feel it all through here. And the other one. 1, 2, 3, hold down. 1, 2, 3, hold down. 1, 2, 3, hold down. And I guarantee you, you will feel that throughout your quads. Now that is a hip and band workout for your obliques and for a little bit more for your hip flexors. While we're sitting here, let's get the waistline one more time. If we use the medicine ball, we can actually sit, put it in the right, and then do our oblique. And the right pocket is here, left, and hand over. And you can go ahead and finish off with a minute this way. And then when you get to your 30 seconds or a minute, you can go ahead and trade and go to your right side. And here's your left pocket. And there again, you're definitely working. Okay, so that's just a little bit of hip work. Now, let's change and let's go into arm and core work. So let's call this part 2.